One of my favorite places to work on hip cars is from our crawling quadruped position. So I like if you're on the floor and you have a block or something to put, it'll give you a little guide, kind of a target to go over. If you don't have that, that's okay. You don't have to have it. You can do it without this. So first I'm going to show you without that block. We're going to have hands down in that crawling position, kind of a short stance, so shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, pressing into the floor, drawing those ab muscles in so we have some support through our core. We're going to lift our right knee, bring it towards the chest, and then freeze when you can't get any further. This is not a rounding of the back. We're keeping that pretty steady neutral spine and just going into that front of the hip. So you'll feel hip flexor, quads, abs. From here, we're going to think a little bit dog on a fire hydrant. You're going to bring that knee out to the side without rotating your pelvis towards the ceiling and freeze. And then keep the knee that high. Start to spin the foot to the sky so we're internally rotating and circling that leg around behind us in a nice big circle. Full hip extension here as much as we can. And then we're going to bring the leg back down towards the floor. And reverse. Kick backwards. Hip extension, feel the hamstring. Glide that knee sideways as far to the side as you can without letting it fall. Then we're going to start to pivot that right knee up, spinning in the hip socket and gradually pulling the knee around towards your right tricep to bring it in under your chest and set that knee back down. Now I'll show you why I like the block here. If you set it next to you, it's going to give you something to lift over. So let's see if I can clear this target. We're going to bring that knee, again, right knee towards the chest. We have hip flexors, abs, and quads. We're going to go out to the side, lift that knee up as high as we can without rotating in the pelvis. And then I'm going to keep it that high and spin internally into that position, foot to the sky. I'm going to circle around. I'm trying not to couple with my spine, not to move my pelvis. We get to hip extension and we let the leg come down. And then I'm going to reverse it, kicking backwards through that thigh, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hamstrings. I'm going to glide back and I'm going to try to clear that target again, going around, gradually externally rotating as needed to move through that hip socket. Bring the knee towards my tricep, under the chest, and down. And I'll talk you through that one more time. Pressing into the ground as much as we can, bringing the knee towards the chest and freeze. Reaching out to that external rotation, get that knee up, moving from the hip, pause, internally rotate, spin the foot to the ceiling, and then slide that leg into parallel, go to full hip extension. Lower the knee towards the floor, reverse, kick back, hamstrings and glutes, hip extension. Glide that right knee over to the right as far sideways as you can, and then start your external rotation, pulling that knee around, reaching towards your tricep, and letting the knee come down to the mat. So we are moving in a very, very big circle in the hip socket, trying to get as much out of it as possible, making sure we're hitting our full hip flexion, internal rotation, external rotation, and hip extension, and just connecting them all together.